This is Chad from Nickelback, and you're listening to 89 FM Radio Rock.
Fala galera, beleza? Eu sou o Wendell Correia e hoje eu vou conversar com Chad Kroeger, o vocalista do Nickelback. Eles estão lançando um álbum novo agora em novembro de 2022, se chama Get Rollin. Trocar ideia com ele sobre isso, sobre as músicas que lançaram, os singles e mais algumas curiosidades da banda, tudo com exclusividade para 89, a Rádio Rock. How are you, Chad? Nice meeting you. I'm Wendell from 89 FM, the Radio Rock here in Brazil.
Nice. Thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Where are you now?
I'm in Vancouver. I'm in the recording studio at the house in where we make all the records.
Great. Where do you live now? Canada or LA?
I live in Vancouver as well. Yep.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm gonna start asking the question that the fans always do to you. You guys are releasing a new album? Are you coming to Brazil again next year?
2023. Yeah. So the new record's out November 18. And then 2023, we're gonna start in America, do a quick tour here. And then we've got so many places around the world that we've got to get to. I mean, just places we still haven't even been to. I did an interview today with India, and that was the first time I've ever spoken to anybody at an Indian radio station. And they were talking about, all the songs that we have, that he starts listing off, like From How You Remind Me to Rockstar to Photograph to all, Burn to the Ground, on and on and on. He's like, you guys, we play your stuff a lot. People here want to see you. Got to come down here and play. You gotta come to India and play. Yeah, so there's so many places we got to get to, and we absolutely have to come back because the Brazilian fans are some of the best in the world to us. They really are. And we talk about two of our favorite shows we've ever played ever as a band were at the first two times that we played Rock in Rio.
That's great, man. Any funny story here in Brazil that you remember, and you can share with us, of course.
Any funny stories from, well, the one thing I can definitely say is the first time we came down and played, we didn't know what to expect. And when we got on stage, the response was overwhelming with everybody singing back to us so loud that the second time we came back, I knew what to expect. And before I got on stage, I got to say, I was a little nervous because the second time we played, there was 120,000 people there. And when there's that many people there, you don't want to mess up. You really want to put on a good show. So now that we know what to expect, I'll probably be even more nervous the next time we come down to Brazil.
That's great, man. Talking about the new album that is coming up, I like it. Congrats for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. How was the process of writing, recording, Get Rolling? I know there are some songs that were not written during lockdown, like This Heaven Even Know You're Missing. You started working on this song for 15 years, that right?
Yeah. The album needed something that had that kind of flavor to it. And I just had to go back to the vault and look and see, because I always like to check the vault and see if I've missed something. And the song was there. And the reason it didn't make it on previous records is because we always had something that was kind of like that was similar to it. But for this one, we didn't have anything that had that. And I've been waiting to record the song for, probably 15 years. So it was wonderful to be able to knock the dust off of that one. And then when the other stuff, for instance, Those Days, just start fresh. And away we go.
And talking about Those Days, they already have an official video for that. And the first time I listened, reminds for the first time Photograph, because you're talking about memories, having old photos and posters on the official video. Do you remember the good and old times, right?
Absolutely. Nostalgia. See, if you listen to a song like Photograph's like supposed to be a glimpse into what it was like for us growing up in Hannah. And it's really about like, and this is where I grew up, and this is where I went to school, and listing all those things. But for something like Those Days, it was more like, it was like I'm saying it to everyone. Hey, remember this, remember this, remember this, like all the different things. And we just started listing off all these sort of like pop culture references from the 80s. And we're talking about, Prince getting played at your first slow dance and talking about Guns N' Roses and talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and trying to get up to 88 miles an hour so you can go back in time, which is a reference to the Michael J. Fox movie there. You know, so when you do that kind of stuff, for people who grew up in the 80s, it takes you right back there. And it's just an amazing feeling. And so if we can inspire that, if we can make that happen, then we're lucky for it.
And being a successful band as you guys are, and I saw a picture of you on Tommy Lee's 60th anniversary. Right. So it's like you are living a dream. Is that right? The life that you have now.
Yeah. No, it's strange. You know, I love Tommy so much. He's so good to me. Such a wonderful human. He really is. You know, it's weird to be his friend, but to also be such a big fan, you know. And I tell him that all the time. I said, you know, he and Nikki were standing next to each other and they're just sitting there talking. And it was so bizarre because the 13-year-old version of Chad just kind of went, like that's half a Motley Crue just standing there. We're just talking. It's Tommy's birthday, you know, and then we just start talking about something together. And then suddenly, you know, I'm back in the friend mode, but it's hard switching. It's weird going back and forth between, you know, being a peer and a friend and a fan. It is surreal. And sometimes it does feel like I'm living in a dream.
That's great. I'm not a musician, but I'm a journalist, and talking with you guys is exactly the same feeling. Oh my God, when did this happen? That's great.
Right. Yeah, you get to talk to everybody. I mean, you talk to celebrities and you know, and rock stars and whatnot all the time. It's got to be bizarre for you too, because at first you want to come off like a peer, and then all of a sudden it's like, by the way, I love your band.
And you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable.
No. Hey, flattery will get you everywhere. It really does.
And talking about the opening track, San Quentin, I noticed that you guys enjoy to open the album with a heavy song. You do that purposely.
Yeah. We always like to remind everybody that we're a rock band. You know, there's lots of different styles to this band. You know, when you think Nickelback, some people might think How You Remind Me. Some people might think Rockstar, Photograph, or something. Some people think Burn It to the Ground. So we just like to always come out with the big, you know, like kicking the door open and the big boom, the big sound. Never hurts to start off with a rock song.
And what inspired you to write this song? Someone you met in San Quentin, and then you started writing the lyrics of it, right?
I was at a party and I met the warden. And I didn't believe it was the warden. It was very weird. And then once everybody around him was like, that's actually the warden from San Quentin. I was like, oh, wow. And then immediately I just thought, I think I'm going to write a song called San Quentin. I didn't say that to him, but I waited till you wait for that moment where you turn around, you pick up your phone and just like start writing ideas down as fast as possible.
So in the live official videos, there are some students of a university, and I don't know if you guys have played in live in front of an audience, but you can see that it will work on your performance. Do you rather be in studio or playing live? What do you prefer as a musician?
Wait, can I take both?
You do both.
Yeah. I mean, one has to be your favorite. You know, when you start off in the studio, you want to be in the studio, but on the 11th song, that's the last place you want to be, is in the studio. You want to be off touring. You know, when you start off a tour, it's all you want to do is just be on tour. And then once 18 months comes around, it's like, I'll take the studio, please. I'll take the studio, you know, because it's tiring and it wears on you. And it's a hell of a lot of work. But I'm thankful that I get to do both. You know, we get to stand on stage and sing songs for people all night long, and we also get to come in the studio and get creative and so you get satiated in both aspects.
And talking about the song High Time, the lyric says, "High time, you and I get rolling." Get rolling, the name of the album. When and when did you decide to be the name of the album?
Well, that was tricky. Because of the way that Nickelback albums sound, and they're all over the place. You have rock songs, you'll have a ballad, and then you'll have, something nostalgic, or just it's so hard to come up with one title that encapsulates the entire thing. It's really tough to do. But once we started talking about this, just get rolling, it's like it's got so many different connotations. So right off the bat, it's you're gonna twist one up. You talk about smoking marijuana, and then you're also talking about it's time for us to get back out on the road. It's high time you and I got rolling. And then we thought, well, what if we leaned into this and we put like some crazy cartoon sort of 70s van on the front of it? So then we started doing that, and then we said, well, what if we play live? We can start doing all these 70s vintage t-shirts, and it's all that. And then all of a sudden the ideas started flowing, like, yeah, maybe we're onto something here. And it also makes it look like we're not taking ourselves so seriously too. It's, you don't have four guys standing there like trying to look all tough or anything like that. Like there's a crazy cartoon van on the front of it, and it just looks like everybody's inside getting stoned.
And I was gonna say it's totally matched the name of the album, the art cover. And it's the song started with someone coughing. Who was coughing on the recording sessions?
It was my buddy. Yeah, like we just wanted it to make it sound like he was doing exactly what he was doing. Because then we just start looping it and you get the the whole thing starts going, and then it just sets the tone so well. It's kind of silly, but it was also sort of it was like a Pink Floyd with the whole cash register machine. Is like, what if we came up with something like that and then went to this? It's an obscure place to look for that sort of thing, but you'd never think that the Nickelback would be trying to do something Pink Floyd-ish, but that's exactly what we were doing.
That is great. I love when the bands do that. Do you record on video the recording sessions?
Sometimes. There's video of us. We rented a house up in Whistler, and that's about 2 hours north of Vancouver, and it's a legendary ski resort. And we rented a house, set up a studio in the basement because we just really wanted to get away from everything. If you can get away from the distractions, the guys, if they need to get away from, the wives and the kids for a little bit, just so we can stay focused. So we get up there, and we came up with Those Days, and the whole whoa, that whole thing, the whole outro thing. We're all standing around a microphone, and we went into this stairwell that echoed. Somebody started filming it, but it's all of us. We've got the headphones on. We're all just screaming away over and over and over again to build this huge gang vocal and make it sound like there's tons of people singing the outro.
Great, man. Some on the deluxe version are going to be acoustic versions of the songs, of some of the songs. You are doing this interview with a pick in your hand. Do you used to write?
Yeah, I do. Nonstop. Well, it just sits there for some reason. I'll flip it and do whatever, and I won't even. And like I walk around, and there's like in the jacket pockets, there's like guitar picks, they're just everywhere. It's like all over the place. But yeah, it's a habit. Like I'll finish a show. So when I'm playing, and I just tuck it right here, and I'll walk away, and I'll have 10 conversations with people, and then I'll walk on the bus, and I'll realize 30 minutes have gone by, and I still have that pick in my hand for the stadium because it just tucks in there, and I don't even realize I'm doing. But yeah,
that was going to be my question. Do you used to write the chords on the acoustic guitar first?
Sometimes. Yeah, like sometimes it'll be you'll get you start doing like a. Has this feel to it. So I'm letting the two notes on the bottom ring, and it becomes very orchestral. And then something just kind of comes out of my mouth, and that time it was look at this photograph. So I did the look at this photograph. And then I went with and every time I do it makes me laugh. I had no idea where I was going with it. Once I said, how did our eyes get so red and what the hell's on Joey's head? So once I started thinking about photographs that I have around the house, then the one that's been in all the memes with me holding the thing up, and it's, you know, the one. But then as soon as I spit out the line, and this is where I went to school, you know, and this is where I grew up, then it all started turning into all these snapshots. It's like all these snapshots from growing up. So that one definitely starts with a guitar part first, and then there's stuff like How You Remind Me kind of started with some lyrics written down. So I had the Never Made It as a Wise Man, Couldn't Cut It as a Poor Man Stealing, Tired of Living Like a Blind Man, I'm Sick of Sight Without a Sense of Feeling. I had that written down, and so I'd had that tucked away for a while, and I didn't know what I was going to use it on. So then once I started working on How You Remind Me, then I went back and looked at the lyrics. So then so that's sort of a case where the lyrics came first and then the music came after. But it's all over the place. It really is. You never know, because they're not all done the same. They're all done completely different. Sometimes you start working in the chorus and you know what the song is going to be about, and so you start working backwards almost. So you start in the chorus, and then once you know what the song is going to be about, then you go to your verses and then you're descriptive. Sometimes it'll just be like the first line just kind of comes out, and I've got to figure out where the hell are we going here. I have no idea where we're going, which is a terrible way to write a song and completely unprofessional, and we find ourselves doing it all the time. But yeah, it is always completely different.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciated the interview. Thank you for our time, and it was really great. Thank you for getting the guitar and showing me how it is the process. I really enjoyed.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you in Brazil again soon.
See you, bud. Absolutely.
89, a Rádio Rock.